There we go. All right, so for tonight's agenda for our first roundtable of the year, we're going to go ahead and do our usual opening things, the pledge, the Scout Oath and Law. Oh, yes, and please, as it's set up there, please, in the chat, put your name and what council you're from. That way we get an idea of who's here. So as soon as we do the opening things, we'll go ahead and do our winter activities safety moment. And then we'll go into our presentation about committees. I need a committee, or do I? And Paula and some of the rest of us will be presenting parts of that. Michelle Bierstedt will then talk about her experience with the Sioux Council, and then the National Capital Area Council. Victor Bienek will talk about that, and we'll have some Q&A afterwards. So as always, if you've got a question or anything, please put it in the chat. We will have people that are monitoring that so that we can make sure that we answer the questions that you have. All right, Paul, can you go to the next slide, please? Oh, or go back 3, that's okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the pledge now. Please follow me in the pledge. Also make sure that your audio is muted. That way we won't have 500 different versions of this. All right, please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance. Sorry, got muted here. We'll try it again. Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next slide, please. Paul, can you take us to the next slide? There we go. Oh, sorry, back to the Scout Law. All right, Scout Oath, please follow me in the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Next slide. In the Scout Law, a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And then the last one. The Outdoor Code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, be careful with fire, be considered in the outdoors, and be conservation minded. 2. All right, let's proceed on to the next slide. So as we mentioned before, please introduce yourself in the chat window with your name and your council. And let's continue on to the next one. All right, finally, as always, we've got a evaluation of the roundtable. This helps us to improve and to know what topics you're interested in hearing. In fact, everything that we've presented for several months has been as a result of what you've requested on the evaluation. So please, if you would follow this link, or if you've got a QR scanner, you can scan the QR code and it will take you directly to the survey that we have about this. And we'll remind you again towards the end of the presentation to go ahead and go on and fill out that evaluation. All right, Paul, let's go to the next one, and we will turn it over to Michelle for our safety moment.
So if you are looking for safety moments to do with your unit, these are all directly from the BSA. Just type in BSA safety moment into Google. It'll take you right to it. And there's a slew of safety moments available for you to use. But I think this week really kind of drove home the importance of being prepared for some of the winter stuff. I noticed a lot of people were putting in what their temperatures were. Today in South Dakota, it was a lovely 48 above zero. Last week, it was a frigid minus 21 below zero. We all saw pictures of the I-95 and of Washington and Oregon trying to dig out from mega snow. So this is a great time to just remind people of some of the 3 things that we want to watch for as we're planning activities with our scouts and traveling with our scouts. So always use the cold method to stay warm. Make sure your clothes are clean. If they're muddy or wet, it's time to get out of them very quickly. Overheating, avoid overheating by adjusting those layers to meet the outside temperature. Loose layers, we want to be able to trap heat inside. So just like a polar bear traps air inside their fur, we want to be able to trap air, warm air inside our clothing so that we can stay warm and stay dry. If you're sweaty or get damp, that can lead to being cold and uncomfortable. Again, layering your clothes are important. It's a lot easier to put layers on than it is to only have 1 or 2 layers and not be able to change those. Make sure your scouts are changing their socks and underwear before going to bed, especially if you've been out hiking or playing in the snow all day. That way they're nice and warm going into that sleeping bag. Next slide. Eating the right type of food when camping or playing in the cold is also important. Remember that what you're putting in your body is your fuel, and you want to build that fire. One example that a lot of units here in South Dakota do is we have scouts drink a glass of whole milk with evening snack before going to bed. Most people are not used to drinking whole milk anymore because of the fat content, but in our case, where you want to stay warm, drinking that whole milk will actually get you through the night so you're not getting up cold at 2 or 3 in the morning. So it's a great quick way to get some extra fuel. Stay away from caffeinated drinks like soda, coffee, and tea. I know that's going to hurt a lot of leaders in the morning to not have their coffee, but that does actually impair staying hydrated. And keep extra snacks and water in camp and in vehicles as part of your unit's winter emergency kit. There's nothing worse than saying I have plenty of food, except that it's buried in the bottom of the trailer. So make sure that you have some extra snacks that are easily accessible in case you get stranded somewhere. Somebody asked if the milk is warmed. It doesn't need to be. It's nice going down, but it doesn't have to be. It's the fat content that's so important. Next slide. And again, we saw pictures of I-95 of all those cars stranded. The same thing can happen to scouts when we are traveling, especially since so many of us go to a more remote place. We want to make sure that we are being safe in our vehicles because while there's a lot of fun when we get there, we still have to get there. So make sure somewhere in your kits, in your caravan or van or trucks or whatever you're traveling in, that you have some booster cables, an ice scraper, a shovel, an item to help if you're stranded. So a flashlight, signal cones, triangles to warn oncoming cars, especially if there's a lot of snow. Other cars may not be able to see you. So having a way to make yourself seen so that nobody slams into you is really important. Make sure you get your basic first aid kit and know how temperatures affect medicines. Be sure to watch for that. Your cell phone charger, a tow strap in case one of the vehicles becomes stranded in the ditch, water and long-lasting foods. Again, these are your granola bars and other warm, long-lasting, high in fat items, and then items for handling a flat tire. Drivers should review the BSA driving and adverse weather conditions PDF before your trek, and there's a URL to do that. And again, it's on the BSA website. With that, that is your safety moment. Stay safe during these cold, snowy months.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So we're going to go ahead and go into our main presentation for the night. A committee. I need a committee, or do I? So we're going to talk about structuring outdoor ethics and conservation committees in your council and give you some ideas for how to work with those, how to work around them, how to adjust them according to your needs and your specific situation in your council. So the first thing we need to talk about is why people volunteer. So go ahead and go to the next one. There's a couple good bullet points on here that I think we can all relate to because pretty much all of us here are volunteers or have volunteered at some point in our lives. I think we're all here because we want the fun and the fellowship of it. Even though we're just staring at each other on Zoom, we've become used to each other's faces. We like each other. We're a network of people that knows each other now throughout the country. And of course, we have the people that we associate with in our units, in our districts, in our councils. We want to be around them. We want that fun and that fellowship, which brings us to the next point is we all want to feel like we're belonging to a team. There's nothing more empowering than feeling like you're working with other people towards a common goal. And so people often come to scouting because they want that feeling of teamwork and belonging to that part of the team. And then, as always, scouting is full of skills. And not only do the youth get to learn skills, but the adults get to learn those and improve those skills. And so we have so much training and so many things available to us here that there's no possible way that we could not improve our skills in some way at some point being associated with scouting. So a lot of people volunteer because they want that training and they want that experience of leadership. People look forward to making new friends. I don't know how many new friends I've made in outdoor ethics and in the Order of the Arrow and in scouting in general. It's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy associating and meeting new people, and I'm sure many of us in this room do as well. So that is an incredibly important part about why people join scouting and volunteer here. Seeking recognition and fulfillment. So it's being able to teach, and especially for me when it comes to outdoor ethics, being able to teach outdoor ethics and see people making better choices and treating the outdoors with more respect is an incredibly fulfilling thing for me. And when I work with my kids in scouting and see that the progress that they make and the skills that they learn, it's also very fulfilling. And I think that's something that we all share in common. And so those that come to volunteer here, that's something that they often have in common as well with us. And recognition for that. Be honest, we enjoy being appreciated for the things that we do as volunteers. When someone gives us a pat on the back or gives us a patch for participating in something or a square knot or whatever else have you, it feels good to be recognized for the things that you do. And then I think the next bullet point, the next couple are probably some of the most important ones. People volunteer for scouting because they believe in it. They believe in its mission and its value and its principles. And that's saying something. So when you're out looking for people for a committee, remember that we have that in our organization. We have core values and we have principles that are important and that can draw people, like-minded people, to this organization and to your committee. And in addition to that, people want to help other people. It feels good to serve other people. And all of us here have experienced that in some way, shape, or form, because service is such an important part of the scouting movement. We've all had the opportunity to serve others and experience the warm fuzzies that you get from that. And that's a very important component of volunteering. And then finally, they want to get away from the drudgery of their work. Now, I've spent all day in front of my computer today on one Zoom meeting after another, or this or that. So I don't know that having another Zoom meeting is getting away from the drudgery of my work, but it's a different topic. It's something that I care about and that I enjoy being here. Scouting offers adult scouters and adult volunteers the opportunity to shift gears and do something that they don't ordinarily get to do. So when you're looking for people to serve on your committees, think about these things in the ways that you could draw people into your committees and into your councils and districts and whatnot. Paul, go ahead and go on to the next slide. We will now turn it over to Paula to continue.
I wanted to share with you before I got started that in March, we will have the conservation side of our house that will be here to talk about conservation committees and how to do your awards with the conservation committee. So we won't be doing a whole lot of that tonight because you're going to get the whole session in March. So tonight we're going to talk about, we will share how you decide what you want to accomplish, define responsibilities, orient and train, mentor and communicate, recognize achievement, and evaluate performance. Slide, please. Okay, so why do you want to have a committee? What do you want to accomplish? What is the purpose or the goal? Is there a real need? Now, This could be any committee, any place that you ever do. But at some point, we'll start putting other pieces into the puzzle. I became a Leave No Trace Master Educator in 2007. I was very excited to get started training. So I trained Leave No Trace trainer courses at summer camp, venturing events, in district and in units. We started collecting many trainers. What do we do now? We called a meeting and we put it to the group. That night, a committee was formed. A committee is a group of people who are chosen, appointed to do a particular job or to make decisions about something. The venturers in the group decided that they wanted to do something, so they voted to put on a Leave No Trace play day for Cubs. And they wanted to also include a few BSA troops. And so we started. So we had a meeting. We selected some major, wait a second, did you already change the slide? Okay, I was still on the other one, sorry. So define the responsibilities. So you're gonna select major tasks. So what kind of committee are you gonna have? What projects or what are the tasks that you're going to work on? As it said, it could be an event, it could be anything to form a committee for. Develop a list of needs, maybe positions, an inventory of sorts. Define them. That's very important. When you're starting to get going, you have to define what it is that you're going to do and then how to do it. Okay, so identify volunteers. It's important that you know what you need. Recruits will want to know their responsibilities and your expectation for them. Have this discussion most times in person. It makes a better makes it better for the volunteer to understand what it is you mean. Okay, so having the answers to those questions at hand also will help. You naturally avoid a common problem. For example, a group of trainers who are given no tasks will do exactly what they are asked to do. Nothing. All right, next slide. Okay, so it's very important that you fit the right person to the right position. A lot of times we'll get a lot of people that want to volunteer and help you out. And we try to fit the people into the jobs that we have. It's very important to fit the person with the job so that they can be in something that they're comfortable with and that they can help with. Also, consider their interests and other relevant factors. Consider the variety of motivating factors for people getting involved in scouting. And that's what Matt covered in the beginning, why people join and what the things that they're interested in. So make sure that you include that when you're selecting your people. Critical to success, this is very, very important, is the selection of quality volunteers, those who represent the values of the BSA, because it does us no good to wear the brand and not be the brand. Next slide. Okay, so when you have the definitions of the jobs that you ask the people to do and they have agreed to do it, the thing you need to do right away is get them oriented into their job. So That's just a get together and talking about what it is that they're going to do, what their assignment is, so they feel comfortable to get started. And then you're going to follow up with a training, and probably with the whole group, so everybody can see where the different groups in the committee work together and how that works. Okay, Michelle.
And I have the or not piece. So a committee is great if you can get together and meet and do things. But for those of us that are in really small population councils, but really large distance councils, sometimes a committee is more challenging. And so members of the conservation and outdoor ethics work groups may be part of several committees when the council is smaller or by the direction of the executive committee. So here in Sioux Falls, or in South Dakota and Sioux Council, we had a lot of discussions about whether we should have committees or work groups. And in the end, work groups ended up working better for us. And as the council outdoor ethics advocate, I then sit on the committees and coordinate those work groups to do specific tasks. So this is an example of our setup, and this is taken from our strategic plan. We do have a couple other committees that, but I don't have direct contact with them or direct reason to be with them. So I included the 3 committees that I either am involved with or advise when we're going to work on stuff. So the first is our camping committee, which conducts our outdoor ethics, leave no trace orientation courses, STEM courses for adults and scouts at our Sioux Training Academy, which is a weekend-long event that we hold in the spring and bring everybody to our main camp. And we offer merit badges, courses, leader training. So it's a huge event. Offer conservation-specific high adventure treks, promote outdoor ethics at camp programs, and provide feedback to their leaders. So I have several trainers that are on staff that will go around and work with units to improve their outdoor ethics, work with their outdoor ethics guides to promote within their unit, etc. And then we also promote the special awards, such as the Distinguished Conservation Service Award. I also sit on the training committee, and our specific strategic plan was to increase our number of Leave No Trace trainers and outdoor ethics guides and advisors in the council over the next 3 years. We want to have at least 6 youth and adult instructors that are able to do trainings by the end of 2021. I believe we got to 8, so we got ahead of schedule. Offer training at Lewis and Clark Scout Camp to staff and participants. Again, I have a number of trainers that are on staff that take care of that as part of the work group. We schedule an Awareness 101 course every year. The last couple of years have been on Zoom. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do it in person, so we're looking forward to doing that again. Have a leader outdoor ethics advocate, have a leave no trace outdoor ethics advocate annually, and promote twice a year to those not trained in the 101 course, directing them to how to get trained. So we have a place in the newsletter that then I can put events or offer trainings or go to unit to do a unit training. And then while the COEA does not sit on the properties committee, they are there as an advisor. So I'm not a voting member of that committee, but if we are doing improvements, for example, trail improvements, we make sure following conservation guidelines. So I'm the resident expert, so to speak, that can go in and make sure that we're following those conservation guidelines for trails, for campsite development, for our signage to promote leave no trace principles and minimize camp impacts, and to create a camp conservation program that is reviewed every 3 years. So again, while I don't sit on the overall properties committee, I do go in to help with those things. And then if we want to do trail improvements, the work group, I can call on those people who are interested, and that work group can come together to complete specific tasks. So like I said, in our case, with so many people having so many different positions, having more committees and committee meetings was getting cumbersome. So we went to this method of then our COEA being on 2 committees and then being an advisor for the 3rd.
Okay. Who should be a mentor? If in your committee, who do you think might be the mentor? Please put it in chat. Vice President, Conservation or Properties, okay. MEs. Adult leaders with training and experience. COEA, master educators. Someone who is trained, enthusiastic about the program, that's helpful. Experience. Training chair of the committee. Someone who has knowledge and training. Mentors are different than leaders. Can somebody catch the rest of that one? I didn't read it fast enough.
It said mentors are different than teachers or official trainers, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Okay, so usually the mentor is someone that is in your group that you are working in. For instance, in some committees, they have trainers in a section, and then in some they have the IT people or the marketing people or whatever you have. You'll have the person that's most talented in that spot. And a mentor is also a good listener. And that's why it says, and communicate, because communication is very, very important when you're being a mentor. So your mentor can also help you with evaluations and writing goals and setting plans for your committees. And who else is a mentor in scouting? Well, this one you're going to all say, oh, phooey, you should have known it. Commissioners. Commissioners have great mentoring skills. Okay, do we have something there? Professionals can be mentors as well. Exactly. So if you have the conservation one and you need to talk about conservation, you could be mentored by the conservation professional. Matt used to be a professional. Conserve volunteer time and build self-esteem. That's very important when you're being a mentor. You don't want to waste somebody's time. Talk about something different than what needs to be done, and do it quickly. I get laughed at a lot because I'll send a text and I'll say, got 5 minutes? And if I tell them 5 minutes, at 5 minutes, I say, okay, I'm done, I gotta stop. And they go, no, you don't. Yes, I do. I asked for 5 minutes, and so then I quit. Okay, so a mentor is going to provide ongoing mentoring as needed. They don't always, they want you to work and get some of these ideas worked out yourself. And most of the time you come to the mentor and say, this is what I think. Also, the mentor is going to build your self-esteem and confidence. And also the appropriate committee chair or professional, like Matt said before. Okay, so recognize achievement. Matt mentioned that in the very beginning, why people join committees or scouting. And it's really important when somebody is, sometimes somebody may be struggling and they finally get a project done. They like to know that somebody appreciates that they actually did it. So let's have you put in chat ways that you have recognized the success or quality of somebody's service. And when did you do it? I don't mean like January 25. I mean, you know, what was the setting when you did it? Okay, Matt.
All right, so we've got feature the achievement on their blog. So when you achieve your goals, when you are asked to return verbally to the person in front of peers, also may give a certificate of appreciation and say thank you often. That's a good one.
Yep.
Certificate or award at a district dinner. Looking over results of a conservation project during courts of honor, a handmade plaque at a blue and gold banquet, nominate them for the OE Action Award and present at a district or council dinner, more district council dinners, certificate given of a court of honor at a court of honor so the troop sees it, on the spot or roundtables, council meetings, day camp award at unit meetings, gift cards to local outdoor shops, upgraded camping gear, Facebook acknowledgement, newspaper releases, more Facebook district or council Facebook posts or newsletter editions. And then the last one that I see, it says when our outdoor ethics community gets together on our base camp so everyone can see via handwritten thank you note using a slideshow at an event.
Ooh, nice. Those are all very nice. So it's important that we recognize people for their tenure and quality of service. Recognition must be sincere, must be timely. Giving an award a year after somebody has done something, it's nice to do that, but it's better to give it when it's earned. Used a great variety of formal BSA recognition items, but be creative. Used to be when we used to do powwows with the Cub Scouts, there was always these silly awards that, you know, like the big hand and different things that you could give people. And it makes a big difference to somebody's staying and being active with your group. Sometimes it's just a pat on the back or thank you. You know, the more you say thank you or recognize that somebody is doing something good, it makes it better. When you do the awards, make sure it's face to face and in front of their peers, because that makes it even more special. Next slide. Okay, so evaluate performance. This is a very important thing for you to find out. It, you know, we have the start, stop, continue. That's a good thing to use to find out how you're doing. So you can do a self-assessment for yourself, which is a very good idea. You don't have to show it to anybody, but it's for you. And then you think about it and you can improve yourself a lot of times. And if everybody in the committee is taking a look at themselves and trying to decide what they could do to improve their performance, it's a much better situation for everybody. And then at least once a year, the whole group should figure out what they did right and what they need to stop doing because it didn't work, and then go on from there. So, okay. So Matt.
All right. So why volunteers stay in scouting? Now, what you're going to see here is it's very similar to the reasons why they join scouting and volunteer in the first place. Number one, they appreciate scouting's role in their child's education. And we probably should have added a bullet point at the beginning of why people volunteer, especially with scouting. One of the big reasons is because they have kids in the program. And we didn't add that bullet point in, but that's an important one. So they appreciate scouting's role in their child's education and in how the people that it helps their children to become. They stick around because they were given proper orientation I'm sure many of us have been in a job or had a task where we were just kind of told, okay, do the thing. And we're kind of left to our own devices and wonder what we're doing. And it kind of sets, if we don't properly orient people and know that we're there to mentor them and guide them through, it kind of sets people up for failure. And we don't want to do that. Same with training. So training goes hand in hand with the orientation. We want to make sure people know exactly what they're doing and that where to find the resources to continue on their path and to be successful in what they're doing. Nobody likes failure. Nobody likes to be set up to beat their heads against a brick wall all day and not know what they're doing. We want to give them the ladder and the tools they need to get over that and to be successful in what they're doing, because the more success that people experience in what they're doing, even though they may have challenges and difficult things from time to time, if they have success because they've been trained and because they've been oriented, they're happy with that. And it makes them want to stick around and stay longer. Another reason that people stay is they've had the opportunity to expand their horizons. They've been able to do new things and have new experiences that they probably wouldn't have had otherwise. So people that serve on your committee that suddenly have the opportunity to teach and to train people, to work at the different events that you have in your councils or your districts, that's an appealing thing. And if they have the opportunity to do that and to go out and to expand a bit, that is an attractive thing and helps a lot of people want to stay longer. And again, we have the fellowship. We all have friends in our councils and in our districts. We all have friends in the larger outdoor ethics and conservation field in the country. And we enjoy being here and speaking with you. We enjoy that association that we have with other like-minded individuals. And then we just talked about this, but people enjoy recognition for their service. Now, we know, like, most of us are not here to chase square knots or medals or patches or whatever. Well, I do know a few people that really love patches. They will do anything for a patch. But it feels good to have someone say thank you to you in whatever way that is. So please make sure that your volunteers that are working hard, you don't overlook them for their service. Sometimes we see people that are working and have been diligent and have been in scouting for a very, very long time. And we kind of assume that, oh yeah, they probably already have the District Award of Merit or the Silver Beaver or the, whatever award it is. And we don't bother to find out. And sometimes those people get overlooked and left out. So always find out, if they have an award that they're very deserving of, and nominate them for something, or come up with your own award. But make sure that not only do they know that they're appreciated in private, but that it's public as well. That you make it a big deal, how grateful you are for their service, and that's going to keep people sticking with you and sticking on your committee. And then finally, and this, I don't know if this is by accident or not, our very first bullet point of why people volunteer for scouting is they want to have fun. And the reason, our very last bullet point of why people stay in scouting is because they're having fun. If it's not fun, nobody's going to do it. Okay. And so we want to make sure that the events that we do, the trainings that we do, the interactions that we have. Now, obviously, there's going to be some times that maybe are not necessarily fun, but overall, we want people to enjoy what they're doing, have an enjoyable experience, so that they're enthusiastic about it. The more fun people have doing something, the more passionate they are about it, and the more that spreads to other people. Fun is contagious. If your committee's not having fun, it's time to figure out why that is and how you can change that around. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next slide and turn it over to Paul.
Just a second. I do want to say that we have gone through the orientation type piece for forming a committee. And so now we're going to go through how it all happens and what happens at the end. Victor?
Thank you, Paula. I'm Victor Bienick. I'm a Leave No Trace Master Educator, tread trainer, and a member of the Outdoor Ethics Committee in the National Capital Area Council. I'm going to talk a little bit about our committee, how we organized it, and a little bit of background on that. So, Paul, if we could move to the next slide. So a little bit on why creating a committee is helpful. Many hands make light work. You can obviously get a lot more done if you've got more folks to help you with delivering a program. And so having a team is always better than trying to go it alone. The National Capital Area Council is a very big council. We have tens of thousands of members, and we have 22 districts. So, and geographically, we're pretty large as well. We're pretty spread out. So it's to cover that much, that many units and districts and whatnot. It really does take a team. So the ability to provide a robust program and to ensure continuity and succession, so that that if someone has to take a break or you've always got that backup, and that kind of the succession plan for what's next after the outdoor ethics advocate moves on, who's that next person that's in line. And it's good to have a cadre of folks that are ready to take that on. Expand networking and influence and create a community. So we're going to talk a little bit about each one of these. Paul, could you go to the next slide? Thanks. So we started about 11 years ago with a group of 5 master educators. And, the idea there was, hey, let's put some trainer courses together. Let's deliver 2 trainer courses each year. Really didn't have any kind of budget or organization. It was just, hey, let's do this. And it was effective. We went out and we delivered courses, but it wasn't really like a centralized effort with what our original chairman, Rush Williamson, would say. We didn't really brand it. We need to create some branding around this and kind of really create a program. Paul, next slide, please. So as I said, many hands make light work. These are I would say examples of roles that you can have on a committee. We never got to the point on our committee where we had all of these roles filled. I think they were things that we did, but some folks wore multiple hats, in terms of this. But your staff advisor is your person from the council, the professional who is your connection, all things council, related, and then a chairman to organize. Typically, this is the outdoor ethics advocate, and then training coordinators. We would get a lot of requests from units to come to a meeting or to a camp out or something along those lines. Just someone to really kind of take all those requests and match up those requests to a trainer or master educator. The lead trainers are really the workhorses of our committee. They're the ones that are out there delivering training. So pulling together an awareness workshop or pulling together a trainer course, conducting it, and all the follow-up that's needed for that. And so those are the folks that are out there, delivering that part of the program. And a communications person, just to kind of get the word out to folks, publicity, secretary, for keeping track of who's been trained and whatnot, and then just your various plans and flyers and bulletins and those types of things. Treasurer, fundraiser, district representatives to make sure that you have a presence in every district and people are attending the roundtables and talking about outdoor ethics. And then summer camp program representative, someone that's able to deliver the training or a program at the various summer camps, for either trainer courses or awareness courses there, and if possible, integrating those into the daily activities that happen at those camps. Next slide, please, Paul. So really, having a team allows you to provide a robust program and deliver all 3 levels of training. We were able to deliver awareness courses, trainer courses. We did, I think last year we did 20 or so awareness courses. We have we typically do 4 or 5 trainer courses a year, and then a master educator course every couple of years. And then advocacy. So speaking at roundtables, program launches, University of Scouting, having classes there, Commissioner College, anywhere where you can set up a table and talk to folks and get the word out about outdoor ethics. And then just knowledge, being able to provide those resources to folks. We had a page on our council website, which transitioned, into a Basecamp page, so that with resources on there. So we have a couple of different pages there, one for our committee and then one for our trainers, with all types of resources for the trainers to be able to conduct courses. Next slide, please, Paul. So another benefit here is to ensure continuity, succession, and diversity. As I said, back each other up, recruit and mentor the less experienced members to kind of bring them into the fold and continue to grow deep outdoor ethics skills in the council, prevent burnout, and to connect with Scouting's diverse membership base. So we try to keep our committee diverse and be able to reach out to all the various diverse groups in our council, and create the next generation of outdoor ethics leaders. So to be able to kind of keep the ball rolling, so to speak. Next slide, please. Expanding network and influence. So as you build out the committee, you're always going to find that there's folks who are on other committees as well. So it helps to have those connections to the training committee, high adventure committee, conservation committee, and then to foster partnerships with outside organizations. For example, Paul, who sits on our committee, is the Maryland State Advocate for Leave No Trace, and a member of our committee is very active on the Potomac Appalachian Trail Club and the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. So having those connections are very helpful in just being able to understand and kind of get the pulse from those organizations as to how the Scouts are doing and how we're doing on those trails and in those environments. And National Park Service as well. This photo here was from basically a outreach event we did, awareness event we did at a national park in our council, meeting with the general public and talking about outdoor ethics. And this little scout here is making folks pick up trash in order to get a hang tag. So our staff advisor is our connection to the council, which helps us with all those types of resources. Next slide, please, Paul. So also you have an ability to create a community. So what does that mean? Well, just for all those folks who do have that conservation ethic, to be able to provide a means for them to contribute, to share information, connect with like-minded folks, and to continue to learn and grow. Let's see, Paul, next slide, please. We eventually were able to make the pivot to virtual pretty quickly. And we did that by having a team of folks. These virtual events, it typically takes a team to be able to really pull them off. And because we had built up materials for training. We had those already, packaged and ready to put in a virtual format. So having that mix of skills really helped us to be able to move to the to virtual very, very quickly. And I think that's it for me.
Okay, so in the beginning, we decided what kind of a committee we wanted and how to accomplish it. The venturers wanted to do some play days, and the rest of the committee backed them up. And so from there we grew. And so any other things that you think we may have covered in that, what you need to accomplish? That would be in chat. Okay, and I'll go on. Define the responsibilities. Now, in the very beginning, you won't have a whole lot of responsibilities, but when you do, even if there's only 3, each one needs to be defined to make it easier for people to know what you expect of them. And we talked about that in the very beginning. Orient and train, and that's really, really important because you get somebody that's really good for the job. You have to orient them on what it is that they're going to do in that committee and how it's done. And then a training for the group after that, so that everybody could see where every piece goes. And that was Victor brought that up when he was talking about how the team works together. And so when they train, they have to effectively do that. And mentoring, we talked about mentoring, and you guys had some great ideas on mentoring and recognizing achievement and elevate performance. Here we go. We got something here. Matt, could you see that one?
Yes, it says adding a what happens after scenario. So once the first goal is met, you know if the group's dispersing or growing or tackling a new project.
Yep. Okay, thank you. So, and evaluating is always key in scouting, because from start to finish, we just get better. Feedback is a blessing. So from the start, it's baby steps. All councils are different, and all of these things may not be available in your council, and you may not be able to run it like NCAC has the dream committee. But it's very important that if you have like-minded people that want to work together, that you find a way to become a trainer or something. And if you're already a trainer, that you're going to find units and places where people can get together and work. Just remember, some councils, like Michelle showed you, she's working within the already established committees. And so that you can also do that. When we do outdoor ethics, council outdoor ethics advocate training, we show that you have liaisons in other committees anyway, because Leave No Trace and outdoor ethics is in every program now in the BSA. So it's very important that you make a presence if you can. Don't upset the apple cart, just go one step at a time, and you don't have to have a a committee just like everybody else. But here's the key, and Victor mentioned this as well. You have to be mentoring new people, keeping them in your program so that you are sustainable. Because when somebody retires, you should have people coming up from behind. So make sure that you're always bringing in new people to your committees or your teams or your groups. And remember that your trainers are the the whole piece. They're the growth of your committee because they're going to train the BSA Leave No Trace 101s, and the awareness awards are going to talk to the units, and that is your goal, to make sure that the people in the bottom there are doing the training. And so, Paul, do you want to give a little hype on what you're doing next month?
Absolutely, absolutely. So next month's roundtable will be all about the Outdoor Ethics Guide. So I've had a great time interviewing some wonderful youth Outdoor Ethics Guide. So I've got those recordings that we'll share. We'll learn about the Outdoor Ethics Guide handbook and what all's in there. And we'll have some time to talk about just the position and how to take advantage of that in the units in your councils. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So that is coming up next month.
The time has come again for the National Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Conference. We've had it every 2 years now for like 10 to 12 years, I believe. So it's going to be held November 10th through 13th at Bird Adams Scout Camp in Georgia. If you go to outdoorethics-bsa.org, you can find some updates about it. We're currently looking for people that want to present at this conference, that have topics that they want to present on there. And we're going to have a whole bunch, as always, a whole bunch of training, a whole bunch of networking, and the opportunity to have a whole lot of fun. I have never not had fun at one of these conferences. And we've got someone that says if Paul Shimke is there, I will be there. So Paul Shimke will be there. So you should all be there. All right. More information will be forthcoming for this. We're busy working on this, and we will continue to post stuff and let you know as things progress. When registration opens, when everything else opens up, we will have that information to you immediately. And we hope to see you all there.